There will always be people who look at you and only see your past. They see your limitations, your background, your struggles, your scars. They measure your future based on their limited understanding of your story. They think you won't make it. They think you can't rise. They think you'll never walk on the water because they've never seen someone like you do it before. But what they think is impossible, God calls possible. Throughout history, the ones who changed the world were never the ones who followed the crowd. They were the ones who were told, "You can't," and still moved forward. David was too young. Moses couldn't speak. Gideon was hiding, and Joseph was locked in a prison cell. Yet every one of them was chosen to do the impossible. Why? Because when God breathes on a life, He redefines what that life is capable of. He does not look at your resume. He looks at your obedience. He doesn't wait for the world to qualify you. He qualifies you through the fire. And it's through the furnace of rejection, the valley of discouragement, the wilderness of isolation, that He forges you into something the world won't understand. They said Noah was crazy to build a boat when there was no rain. They said Esther was too powerless to shift a kingdom. They said Jesus of Nazareth could never be the Messiah. But God delights in using the least likely to fulfill His greatest purposes. That's why when you rise, they won't understand it. When you succeed, they'll be shocked. When you walk in your calling, they'll ask, "How did that happen?" Because what they thought was impossible was always part of the plan. And now it's your turn. The same God that parted the Red Sea is still opening doors no man can shut. The same God that raised the dead is still resurrecting dreams that others buried. You are not meant to stay hidden, silent, or small. You were created to do things they said could not be done. The people around you may not believe in you. That's fine. Your strength isn't in their approval, it's in your assignment. They may laugh, they may doubt, they may whisper behind your back. But keep building, keep walking, keep believing, because when it's all said and done, it won't be your name they remember. It will be the power of the God who stood with you, the fire that couldn't be quenched, the vision that couldn't be crushed. You are not here by accident. You are not limited by your past. You are not defined by their opinions. You were chosen to do what they said couldn't be done. So rise and do the impossible. When the world looks at someone and says they are too broken, too inexperienced, or too insignificant to make a difference, that's often the exact moment when something extraordinary begins to unfold. The idea that only the strong, wealthy, or influential can make a meaningful impact is not only false, but also deeply limiting. Time and time again, history reveals that the most powerful shifts, breakthroughs, and miracles have come from those least expected. The weak, the overlooked, and the unlikely have a track record of doing the impossible, not because they were prepared in the eyes of the world, but because something far greater was preparing them behind the scenes. In moments of obscurity, when no one sees your potential, it's easy to question your worth and doubt your calling. But these moments are not setbacks, they're setups. They are the very training grounds where resilience, character, and vision are forged. It's often in the silence, in the waiting, in the wilderness that a person is shaped into someone capable of handling the impossible, not because they have it all together, but because they have learned to surrender, to trust, and to persevere through things others can't see. Greatness doesn't begin with applause, it begins with belief. Often a quiet, stubborn belief that there's more to the story than what meets the eye. When others give up or walk away, the ones who rise are those who hold on to that inner fire. They dare to dream in the face of opposition, to keep going when it seems foolish, to pursue a path even when they're walking it alone. It's not arrogance, it's conviction, born from something deeper than self-confidence. It's the kind of courage that doesn't rely on credentials or validation, but instead on a sense of purpose that no one can take away. Being unlikely in the world's eyes is not a curse. It's often the greatest gift. It means you're not boxed in by expectations. It means your journey can be different, surprising, and full of awe. There is strength in starting from the bottom because every step up is a testament to endurance. There is power in being underestimated because it allows you to exceed expectations and defy limitations. What others call weakness becomes the very place where strength is born, not by force, but through faith, persistence, and a refusal to give up. So when you feel like the least likely, remember that history has been shaped by those who had nothing but a calling. The world may not be watching, but that doesn't mean the moment isn't significant. Often the greatest impact comes from those who never saw it coming. And the ones who do the impossible are not the ones the world expected, but the ones who dared to believe that the impossible was already within reach. Many people wait for the perfect moment, the right resources, or a clear sign before stepping out in faith. But what they don't realize is that true change begins not with the right conditions, but with bold action in the face of uncertainty. Waiting for everything to align perfectly before making a move often leads to a lifetime of waiting. Those who rise above average aren't those who had all the answers, but those who were willing to start when things didn't make sense, when the road ahead was unclear, when fear whispered in their ears, and when logic said don't. Action is the catalyst that transforms dreams into reality. The people who achieve what others call impossible aren't necessarily the most talented or the most well-connected. They are simply the ones who decide to move. They take a step even when they're unsure. They knock on doors even if none have opened before. They keep going even after failure. Their strength isn't in knowing what lies ahead. It's in refusing to be paralyzed by what they don't know. Momentum comes not from knowledge, but from movement. In this journey, fear is inevitable. Doubt will creep in. Others will question your choices, and at times even you will question yourself. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something greater is worth more than your comfort. Every time you act in the face of fear, you grow stronger. Every risk you take breaks the chains of limitation. It's not reckless. It's obedience to a call that won't leave you alone. It's the refusal to let the unknown silence the purpose inside you. Comfort zones are tempting because they feel safe, predictable, and controllable. But growth never happens there. No mountain was ever climbed from a couch. No revolution was started from a place of ease. Every great breakthrough required discomfort, sacrifice, and a leap into the unfamiliar. The people who change the world, who shatter expectations, are those who walk into the storm and say, "Even here, I will move." They don't wait for conditions to change. They become the change that shifts conditions. It's also important to understand that taking bold action doesn't mean doing everything at once. It means being faithful with the small, consistent steps. Sometimes the boldest thing you can do is keep showing up. Some days, bold action looks like speaking truth when it's not popular. Other times, it's choosing integrity when compromise is easier. Every action, no matter how small, has the potential to ripple out and shift the atmosphere. You don't need certainty to begin. You need courage. You don't need everyone's approval. You just need to take the first step. Boldness births movement, and movement invites miracles. Those who wait for perfection may never start, but those who act in faith will witness the impossible unfold, not because they were ready, but because they were willing. Rejection, failure, and disbelief from others are often seen as setbacks, but in truth, they are the very fires that forge greatness. When others say something is impossible, they are revealing their own limits, not yours. Every breakthrough in history was once labeled impossible. Every innovator, leader, and visionary was once told they were foolish for believing in something that didn't yet exist. The voices of doubt are loud, but they are not accurate. They reflect fear, not fact. And when those voices rise up, whether from the world or from within, they must be met with unshakable resolve. Facing rejection is painful. It stirs questions like, am I good enough? Or did I misunderstand my calling? But rejection is often redirection. It removes false paths and pushes you toward a greater truth. Those who rise are not those who were always accepted. They are those who refuse to quit after being denied. They understood that closed doors are part of the journey. They kept walking even when it hurt. They learned that every no was making room for a greater yes. And in that persistence, they discovered a power far stronger than the approval of others. Failure, too, is a necessary teacher. It humbles, refines, and strengthens. Each time you fall short, you're being equipped, not disqualified. The most successful people have failed more times than others have tried. They faced humiliation, loss, and ridicule, but they saw failure as feedback, not as a final verdict. They knew that in the ashes of defeat lay the seeds of wisdom and the roots of resilience. They didn't fear failure, they used it, and in doing so, they rewrote what was thought to be possible. Disbelief from others is often the greatest weight to carry. It's difficult to press forward when even loved ones question your path. It can feel lonely, as if you're building something only you can see. But that's the nature of vision. It's personal before it's public. It's internal before it's understood. Those who carry great callings often walk alone before others see the fruit. The challenge is not to convince everyone. The challenge is to keep walking when no one claps, when no one agrees, when no one sees what you see. Because it's in those silent, lonely stretches of the journey that your character is forged. Opposition is not a sign that you're off track. It's often confirmation that you're on the right one. Great callings attract great resistance, but resistance builds strength. And those who endure it grow into people who not only dream big, but carry the weight of those dreams with integrity and power. The fire of opposition doesn't burn away your destiny. It burns away what's not meant to go with you. So let every no sharpen your focus. Let every setback build your strength. Let every doubter fuel your fire. You were not called to be average. You were called to rise. Let them say it's impossible, then show them what happens when the impossible meets unstoppable. When you pursue something that seems impossible, it's not just your skill or determination that is tested, it's your faith. Faith is the unseen engine that drives impossible things into existence. It's the quiet confidence that moves forward even when everything says turn back. You may not see the whole path, and that's okay. Faith doesn't require sight, it requires trust. The kind of trust that says, even if I don't know how, I believe it will happen. This belief is not naive, it's powerful. It's what separates dreamers from doers. Because at the core of every impossible victory is someone who refused to let doubt win. Faith doesn't remove obstacles, it gives you the strength to climb them. Life will throw walls in your way, emotional walls, financial walls, relational walls. Faith says, I don't know how I'll get over this, but I believe there's a way. That belief allows you to act, to speak, to try when logic says stop. It gives you the courage to take the first step when the rest of the path is hidden in shadows. And sometimes it's not even about giant leaps. Sometimes it's just the small daily choices to show up, to keep building, to keep hoping. What most people miss is that faith doesn't guarantee instant results. It's not a shortcut to success. It's the foundation for it. It keeps you grounded when you're tempted to quit. It keeps you humble when you succeed. It shapes your attitude in struggle, and it matures your character over time. Faith is the reason you can smile while still waiting. It is the anchor in storms, the calm in chaos, the whisper that says, keep going. Without it, people give up before the breakthrough. With it, they endure long enough to see the impossible bend into reality. And faith is not just about believing in the outcome, it's about trusting the process. That every delay has purpose, that every detour is not destruction, but redirection, that closed doors are protecting you from something you can't see yet. Faith knows that the waiting room is not punishment, it's preparation, that just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Timing matters, but so does trust. And when the two meet, when your faith aligns with the right moment, the result is something breathtaking. In a world obsessed with immediate gratification, faith asks you to be different, to walk by belief, not by sight, to speak life when everyone speaks fear, to stay the course when others run. You don't need everyone to believe with you. You just need to believe enough to keep moving forward. What seems impossible now will look inevitable later, because faith saw it long before it arrived. Let your faith be louder than the noise, stronger than the fear, and bigger than the challenge. That's how impossible things become possible.